Hello and welcome to the next Pompey Eclectic podcast, number 6.
This is episode 6, and I'm here with Shaolin Phil.
And I'm here with Simon the Cut, Eddie.
And we're both here
with our delightful special guest,
Graham Marsh.
Graham Marsh the Swampy Marsh.
Hello.
Welcome back. It's been a month, hasn't it, since our last get together. Hope you're all doing well.
Looking well.
Wow, that's a good segue, because sometimes you can look at our videos, sometimes you can just hear us.
Yeah.
Just for your audible pleasure.
I'm glad you said it like that this time.
Yeah.
Today we've decided our topic is going to be about poetry. Now you might go, poetry is for dinlos, or not, actually the opposite of dinlos. It's for people with well education.
Phil did not pass English.
But you know, it's not just for those posh types, isn't it? Poetry can be for dinlos too, like us.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd delve into the literary prosaic world of prose. I think Simon should take over. This is your idea. Your idea to do poetry. I'm like, what? Are we going to do something like cool?
Well, poetry's cool. Come on.
Can be cool. We're going to make it cool today.
It is. It's just that you don't always realise it until you get older.
Yeah, that's true.
Mind you, there are lots of young people who are into poetry.
Who? Oh, to young people.
Young people. So I said that really quickly.
We're young.
Young people.
We are young.
We're not young. We're nearly 50 now, all three of us.
Don't say that. Now they won't like us.
Okay, I think it's time to go into our golden nuggets.
Ooh, golden nugget. So, every podcast, if you were not a regular listener, you won't know that I've delved into my cassette tapes of Yonder, and 30 years old these tapes are, and it's conversations usually with me and Simon when we were sitting on Portsdown Hill, and I found another one. This is kind of ties in with today's topic, poetry, a little bit. You'll see why. It's only about 30 seconds, so here we go. Here we go.
This cocktail.
That's what's annoying me. But it's no longer than a day. I mean, far longer than a day. Oh shit, it makes up.
Feels like home.
That's because you do it so often, come out here. Yeah, you see the big ship today?
Hurry up and give me a beer.
Yeah.
See, that all rhymed. You'll see when you play that.
What did?
All that what we just said.
Everything. Today. Or just then?
Just then.
Oh.
Okay, and that was us talking on Portsdown Hill about everything rhyming. That brings us kind of to today, and we're talking about words that kind of go together that sound similar with different letters at the beginnings and ends.
What?
That's what a poem is,
I thought we were doing poetry.
That's what a poem is. I thought it was just like
you don't have to rhyme.
Bat and cat. That's what I thought. That's
no,
what,
you don't have to rhyme.
Poetry's
You
not
don't
always
what?
about rhyming.
Oh, you don't. Oh, that's interesting.
No.
So there's poems that aren't rhyming.
Yeah, loads of them.
Wow, that should be called criming.
Yeah.
Rhyming with your
So, well, what? Thank you. So what?
It was funny because
I didn't even
so
prepare
bad.
that. I didn't prepare that or anything.
It was funny because it was bad.
So let's talk about poetry. Well, actually,
We are all poets, aren't we?
I grew up doing English. I was good at English. I mentioned a couple of pods ago. I did well in English and didn't do well in maths. I did like a bit of poetry growing up, although it's not the kind of thing you tell to your mates. You don't. I like Daffodils by Matey.
Oh yeah. I wandered lonely as a cloud.
Yes, and all that. They'd be like, "What? You're a beep." A word we can't say in this day and age. But we do like Marshy himself. I hear you're a bit of a poet.
Yeah, I enjoy writing poetry.
Have you always written poetry?
Not always, but it's just something that goes into my head, and I need to get stuff out of my head.
It's brilliant. Yeah, that's exactly why I write.
It's definitely cathartic.
Yeah.
It's an outlet.
Us introverted types, we can't just run around and go, look at me, like you extroverts out there. So we have to find a different way to, like you say, get it out and it onto paper instead of prancing about. It's pages instead of rages. Moving on.
Yeah. So we've all been poets at some time or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to write poetry I used to write songs when I was a teenager, and all the way to my early 30s, and then suddenly, when I hit 33, I switched to writing poetry.
Wow.
I don't know why.
But you're such a good guitarist.
Never wrote another song.
Why did
just
you-
switched to poetry.
Why did you give up the guitar? Because you're a brilliant guitarist. We're doing another pod about your musical abilities
Oh, really?
and your Jimi Hendrix.
Fetish.
Yeah.
So I got into writing poetry, and I've written a lot of poetry.
2 books worth, at least.
No, I've got about 8 or 9, I think.
I mean,
Yeah, and originally that started with at school, because I think I mentioned in our last podcast that I went down from the top sets in all the classes at school, and that included English.
wow.
And in the top set they studied Shakespeare, so I didn't get to study Shakespeare. But in the second set we studied war poets, which was fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
Wow.
So it was actually a bit of a bonus getting knocked down a set.
Yeah, I really didn't read enough of war poetry because I'm quite interested in history, and so yeah, maybe that's something I should get into, because I bet there's some amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
People ready to go over the top. They do a little quick couple of stanzas before they face the guns.
Well, the First World War was the war which had the most poets and artists involved in it.
Yeah.
So it was the first war that was really well documented from a creative perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it. Yeah.
What you would have gone through,
But-
and then to be able to produce something
But,
like that.
yeah, nowadays you just scroll through some Instagram videos before doing that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just put pen to paper, and people don't do that. I don't ever see people sitting down with a notebook writing. I do that, and I get weird looks nowadays.
Yeah, very rare.
So everyone's just got their
I
phones.
saw one person do it recently, and he was getting weird looks from everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sit there with a notepad, people think you're some kind of freak.
Well, that's it, because it's not what everybody's used to now, is it?
But there is nothing better than sitting in a cafe, slurping on a coffee, and writing a poem.
Yeah. The next time you see someone, put pen to paper. Go and say, "I appreciate you," because you're not like all the rest.
Yeah, and then you'll be the freak.
Oh yeah. And why don't we?
Yeah, so
touch
we're
on
going to read some of our own poems to
what?
you. Yeah,
Our own.
our own poems.
Oh God.
So we're going to plague our listeners for a little while, and then we're going to read some of our favourite poems by well-known authors, by well-known poets. And we're going to try and work those up by discussion into some sort of top 10.
Ooh. I like
Which
top
will be
tens.
The GOAT poem top 10, the greatest of all time. poems.
Oh, that's what goat means.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. You've learnt something new.
And you thought it was,
That was
a
a
thing like a sheep.
I remember the first.
poems.
I remember the first poem I ever wrote. I was at school and I was naughty, and they made me write on the blackboard, "I must do what I'm told." And then I put, "I must do what I'm told. I'm not be old. I must not be cold." And I changed all the last words, and that was my first poem. And then I got to do another 400 lines because of that.
Yeah.
So that's when I started my career as a poet.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it.
So you're in danger of being in limerick territory.
But yeah, I did progress from that, and I did write a few poems. So yeah, I reckon, do we flip a coin? Who's starting? I think Simon's quite a prolific one, more to choose from.
Prolific one. I don't know. Who's got the most?
But then Marshy's our special guest.
I've
So
only
maybe
brought along 2 of my own.
I've got a few. Only 2?
Yeah.
Well, you've got 8 books and you only picked
I
2.
know, but I didn't have time
Oh.
to go through them.
I think Marshy, being our special guest, could start the ball rolling with one of his.
Okay.
Yeah, who's
Yeah?
got one ready? Yeah.
Yes. This one's called Lost.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't ask me how it came about. Sometimes these things just pop into my head.
Yeah.
Lost. I was lost in the dark. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Lost in the vacuum of time. Unable to hear, unable to think. Noise everywhere, yet the silence deafening. Lost with only my thoughts, then I saw, like an angel, looking in from the distance. Every pass she appeared closer, still unable to hear. The light got brighter from one moment to the next. My mind started to clear. I started seeing life as it was, as it should be. I was lost, but I'd now found my life. The silence was quiet, the noise gone.
Wow.
That was
great.
excellent.
Excellent, man. Yeah. Very, very visual. Very, very profound. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good actually. So it's always interesting when people write about angels because there have been an awful lot of songs and I suppose poems as well, which have been very popular because they've mentioned angels. Because people absolutely love hearing about angels.
Yeah, but this sounded to me like that you met someone, you didn't find your place in the world, you were kind of, and then you found someone that maybe your missus, or could even be.
I don't know.
It was.
Yeah.
And it made everything come, the stillness, it made everything come, because in silence there's the answer sometimes.
See, the thing is, it's like when I write birthday cards or Christmas cards, whether it's to my children or to the wife, I will sit there on my desk with this card and I'll deliberately try to pick one that's got no words in it.
Oh, so you can write one in there.
Then I just get the pen in my hand and I just start writing, and it always turns out to be a poem.
Wow, that's cool, man. Yeah, you got the gift for sure.
I don't know where it comes from. It's like the hand just takes over.
Yeah. It is like being a conduit.
Yes.
Any kind of writing is a bit like that, really. Like
That's
the
it.
thing is already formed
Yeah.
out there somewhere in the
Yeah.
ether, and you just become a conduit through
Yeah.
it.
That's it.
Because my way is I kind of outline it and I have the characters in my head. I have this basic story structure, but then I let the characters loose into the story and I kind of let them, it sounds weird, but I let them kind of guide the story.
Yeah,
but just
run free.
It just feels more organic. But you have to have some kind of writing a story. You obviously need this. But poem, that's the beauty of poetry, because it doesn't need to have any formal structure. It doesn't even have to rhyme, apparently.
Yeah.
So you're free to it's just visual.
Well,
imagery.
there are some formal structures, and there's a lot of theory behind it as well.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Fry edited a book about poetry, which I had a copy of.
Yeah.
Well, I never got around to reading it because it was just so in depth.
Yeah, because there's.
But I like the fact that I can make up the format myself and the structure.
Yeah,
Just sort of
there's-
free form.
There's lots of templates. There's the haiku, isn't there?
Yeah,
Was it 575?
Yeah, and the iambic pentameter is the British one, the English one.
Yeah, and there's the Shakespeare's sonnets, which is 14 lines or something.
Yeah.
They all make up their own rules. If you're a bard, you can do what you want. You can say, this is the sonnet now. This is what it is.
You see, the thing is, you don't have to stick with one particular flow
No,
or one particular style.
you can invent your own. That's
Exactly.
You can just do whatever fits what you're feeling.
Whatever feels natural to that individual, I believe.
It's like a painting, you just go with the feeling. That's what any art is. And art for me is this connection between our heart and whoever's your audience. It's a connection, wherever the canvas is.
Yeah.
Whether it's just
That's
told
it.
or just written or painted or whatever.
Everybody's individual style.
I really liked the fact that you were talking about being in a dark place where you were lost.
Yeah, and
Because-
the light play it.
Yeah, and how you got out of that, because I think a lot of people experience that during their lives.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you often think, oh, that's someone weird, like if they're going through that. But actually, as you get older, you realise that everyone goes through those
It
stages.
does.
Yeah.
But I feel as males, we can't express that
Yeah.
in ourselves
Yeah.
with communication, with
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
We're
know.
not very good at it, are we?
No.
Yeah, the women are good with the emotions.
But, and this is where I feel that to get my emotions out, and same as all three of us here,
Yeah.
is just writing it down, getting it out your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that helps not potentially free the mind, but certainly gives you clarity.
Yeah. That's definitely how I started with writing songs. It was about emotional turmoil in my teenage years and how to get rid of that emotion.
Yeah.
It was an outlet for the emotion. But when I started writing poetry, it started like that, but then I sort of tried to make it more outside of myself rather than just coming from emotions and it being an outlet. So I tried to make it more about something else, about a place, or about my connection to a place.
Yeah.
So a lot of my poetry is on the theme of a location
Yeah,
somewhere.
because you did
and
that
my-
whole
and my
whole
human
book.
connection to it.
whole book while you were in Cambridge, didn't you? That was all based around different.
Yeah, and I did the same in Moscow. I wrote
Yeah.
a whole collection when I was in Moscow.
It's almost almost forms like a diary then of your part of your life. So it's quite interesting. Yeah, I've got a lot of my poems are kind of humorous-ish. So I looked through one of my earliest poems, which is a bit less humorous, a little bit. It's called Dream. It goes something like this. I wandered through a dream one night while my mind was far away. I saw a man sitting by a lake, watching the gentle water sway. I asked him why he seemed so sad and why he didn't smile. He replied he was a traveller who had just walked his last mile. He had travelled everywhere, through snows and winds and rains, had walked through towns and cities, through village and country lanes. He had lied out in the sun, watched it set in every way, had seen a million beaches with sands of white and grey. He had looked upon the stars that blanketed the sky, had sat and watched each one fade away and die. He had climbed up every mountain, had swum in every sea, had talked to every race of person and every type of tree. And I told him there was one place that he'd never travelled to. He just had to look inside himself to know my words were true. And I left him by that lake, pondering what I'd said, and I hoped that he'd embark upon the journey in his head.
Very good.
So it's just...
Very good.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, yeah.
So it's just about people that spend all their life externally, I guess.
Yes.
And don't look at the inside. I guess I was reading the Tao Te Ching around that time, which is like very, very inward looking.
Is that like the I Ching?
It's similar, yeah.
Okay.
All the Chings. But there's the Tao Te Ching, Taoism is quite interesting. I was quite interested in some of the philosophies because it's all about we don't really know anything. Everything we know is already inside us. So it's about finding this our inner selves. And a lot of people spend so much time on the external, their looks or their careers, their materialistic lives, whatever, and they don't work on the inside, which is important,
Yeah.
I think. So that's it, really.
Yeah. Do you have any views on that, Graham?
It's a load of
Enjoyed
bollocks.
it.
Did you like it? You liked it, yeah.
Yeah, it was very good.
My turn, is it?
Well,
Yes.
I think Simon's go.
Okay, right.
What's this one about, Simon?
This one is called Feeling Well Again.
Do you feel well? You seem quite ill at the moment.
I am, yeah. I've got a cold.
So this is quite an apt poem.
So here we go. That sense of wellness overwhelming, body feeling good, mind unsubjugated, oppression and latent injuries still to solidify. And our we here, our royal we, here, Emmanuel, and yet not. And yet I am, for my own self, alone. I am for my own self alone, alive and still, calm, still and alone. No relatives, no phone, reading basic memories of sanitation, calm, still and alone, alone.
Well,
Deep.
very
Yeah.
deep, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote on the bottom of this page, themes were loneliness, sadness, yet recovering and feeling better. So I'd experienced a period of bad health, and this was written obviously when I was feeling well.
That's
It's
it.
like
That's good.
it's like calming the storm, the maelstrom around you, and finding a path out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like positive stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, even only a story doesn't have to.
Do you think it's quite positive then?
There's positiveness, yeah, because it's about this. You know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know, even I don't even need to be. It doesn't have to be positive. Maybe it's hopeful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that kind of thing. Hope is important. Even if all is lost, there's always a hope coming round a corner.
Indeed.
Yeah, nice stuff, man. What about your next one, Mr. Marsh?
Right. Well, there's a theme to all my poems.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
What's your theme?
It feel
We figured that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Sit. As I sit here waiting, I sit and cry, not sure why. I hear music in my head, not knowing why. That brings tears to my eyes. As I sit here, I cry. Cry for happiness, cry for life. I sit and think why. I'm not sure why. I just sit and cry. I sit here, I cry for sorrow. Sorrow for all the people I've lost. I cry for all the good times, the hard times, but most of all, the sad times. Times that things could have been better. I sit here, waiting.
Very nice. I sense a certain regret in that poem as well.
Yeah,
But, but you cry for the happy times. I like that.
Yeah.
Poem. Yeah. Sometimes even the good times can make us cry. It's a good cry.
I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this was wrote years before. But obviously my boy was in hospital last year, actually, this time last year.
Yeah.
And he had to go in for an operation.
Yeah. Scary.
And things went well, but then he had to keep going back into hospital for certain things.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to have to go in for an operation again. As it happened, when he was in the operating theatre getting prepped, certain things happened, and it seemed to have sorted everything else. And
Wow.
as the doctor came out, she told me, and I was just in tears of joy
Damn, yeah.
and relief.
Yeah, man. Good.
Yeah.
That's brilliant news. I can't imagine. I mean, I don't have kids of my own, but I can only imagine what you went through.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about how difficult it is to share these things,
That's it.
and that was very tender and heartfelt and really important to say.
Yeah.
Nice job.
It's certainly things that I'd never hope anybody has to go through.
Because we do all cry, don't we?
Yeah.
At some point or other.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
You know.
We cry less as we get older. That's why it's important to have an outlet. We become like men, become kind of husks
Yeah.
as we get old. So it's good to have some kind of release.
Yeah.
I've got another one called tenacity.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know what that word means, but it sounds good. Okay, this is
Do it.
just hoping you won't.
I'm
blow
just
your nose.
blowing my nose. I'm going to be silent now. Okay, go.
Okay. Times change. Past days hit me like blind eyes, searching, seeing the sun. Those I remember, bittersweet ache deep inside, can't decide to stay or go, to hide or run. Mind and heart split, not so new. Life throws away all my faith and flips a coin for me and you. Hopes to burn, notes to earn, follow a dreamer across the gulf of uncertainty, someone you once knew. Demands made, stress engraved on mind and skin bone dry, never stop to think this is the end. Don't give in and fight their wars. Look within, you'll get the chance to try again. Maybe earn the wings to fly, my friend. So I think that was written when I was really torn in my life about what I was doing, if I was going to fight or flight, if I was going to stay in or just run. And I think that was around the time I left to reset my life almost, just give everything up and go to Asia.
I think that really comes across in the poem because it's very ambiguous. I'm not quite sure how to describe it exactly. It's ambiguous in the sense that you're speaking sort of philosophically and you're not actually giving any detail about what's happening, but
You're letting your emotions run.
Yeah, it was very, wrote it in one kind of, in the moment.
yeah.
How
It
it
reminds
was
me of
written.
some of my poems actually, the way you write,
Oh,
or the
right.
way that's written.
Maybe it was based on one of your. I think the wings to fly, my friend, actually came from something you said to me.
Oh, was that about a song? How when you write a song and you work on it over months and months and you develop it and then eventually you record it and publish it and other people hear it and other people record it as a cover version and it sort of gradually takes flight like a bird. And it's free as an entity in its own right.
Or maybe not.
Yeah.
Was it that?
But no, yeah, definitely it was a lot of my feelings at the time, and I was like, shall I stay? Because I mentioned faith, I mentioned love, I mentioned material life, following these guys that there was a certain guy in both our lives in the Jackie Chan days.
Yeah.
We were following him across this uncertain gulf.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the person we thought he was. You know,
No.
these people. There's a lot of people out there who will get you to be their like minions, and you'll spend your whole life realizing their dreams. But what
Yes.
about your own dreams?
Yeah.
So that's
Exactly.
the point when I was like, you know, I had to just cut that out of my life and follow my own path. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's that one. Tenacity.
Good one. Graham, do you have another one?
I do. This one's only a very short one.
Okay.
It's not got no title.
Is that the title then?
It can be. Really.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You hear this?
We'll title it for you.
It's
We'll give you a
very,
title.
it's very small.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Children run, they laugh, they joke. Children made the biggest hearts. Love without compromise. They help, they care. You give them 5p and they give you the world of love.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, that's very nice. actually.
Penny for love. No, that gives away the
I
ending.
would just call it Children.
Yeah, children. Yes.
I think that would make it very memorable.
So it's only a very short
So
one.
you heard it here first, Children by Graham
Very
Marsh.
nice poem. That's sweet. It's a little burst of goodness.
Reminds me a little bit of Wendy Cope.
Oh yeah, she had some good short ones, didn't she? Are you going to do Wendy
hers
Cope?
is very sweet. I did want to, but I didn't manage to get one together in
Well,
time.
I've got a couple more, so I can do another one because you've only got two, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, go on, do another one.
Well, this one I'm going to try and remember from my head because I haven't got it written down. And it's a long poem, but I only can remember the first couple of stanzas. But I think that's enough. I was working in a library for like 10 to 12 years, and they did a competition about libraries. So I thought I'd have a go crack at a library poem. I might screw this up. Libraries. Spending time in a library is not imprisonment. Once they invented books, they knew what vision meant. From reading, you can see so much in your mind. And if you are blind, you can listen to the books on tape. Even prison libraries are an escape. There's a lot more. It gets a bit offensive. It goes on about Stephen Hawking, and I'm better than him at talking or something. So I didn't include that. But I just said it now. Oops.
No, it's.
But I didn't win the competition because they said it was a bit.
Bit naughty.
Yeah. But I like that.
Well,
Prison libraries are an escape.
For anyone who doesn't know, the famous Stephen Hawking, cosmologist, God rest his soul.
Yes, rest in peace.
He lived in Cambridge.
And I met him twice.
Yeah.
But kind of.
I saw him once at John Lewis.
In John Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the best story I've got about Stephen Hawking because I went to watch Inception in the cinema.
Oh yeah.
That's Christopher Nolan's film, very good film. I was sitting there. I was with Peter, actually, my mate Peter, and I heard this like the Terminator or something behind me. And I looked round, and there was Stephen Hawking. He was in the seat behind me, in the wheelchair. He was at the end of the row, sitting behind me because I was at the end. And I looked round, and I sort of made eye contact with him, and he was like a little smile. And there was a big burly bodyguard with him, so I didn't do anything else.
Bodyguard, really?
Yeah, he had like a big guy with him, and it was Stephen Hawking.
Oh, cool.
And I tell everyone now, I watched Inception with Stephen Hawking because it sounds really cool.
See, when I saw him in John Lewis, his power chair was facing the lift, so I was looking at his back.
Yeah.
But I saw a lady standing next to him. I thought, I'm sure I recognise that lady, and I couldn't figure out who she was. And then I realised I'd seen her on TV on a documentary about him, and she was his carer or his wife who was caring for him.
There was someone that hit him. There was one of them hitting him, wasn't there?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I heard a story.
Right.
Anyway.
But he was professor. He became Lucasian Professor of Mathematics at Keyes College, didn't he? Yeah, that was around the time I was living in Cambridge.
There's a movie made about him which is quite good, isn't there?
Yes.
Yes.
Theory of Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good film. I've not seen all of it.
Yeah. Well, my other Stephen Hawking story was I went to the theatre because one of my work colleagues, an older guy called Mervyn, he actually used to be an actor back in his day, and he was actually played the train station conductor in the remake of Brief Encounter back in the 70s. he had this like itch to be an actor, so I kind of convinced him back into acting, and he started going to the local Shakespeare thing, and he got a role in, I think it was Hamlet, and I went to see him, and it was great, and then Stephen Hawking was in the audience, so I thought that was all because of me. I convinced him to get back on and tread the boards, and there you are, and Stephen Hawking watched him. That's a brilliant claim to fame. Not for me, for him, I mean. Let's get back to poetry, shall we?
Yes. So...
Right, I'm going to do another one. Here we go. This one is called Milton Lock. Basin half full, sharing shine, from the east, across the way, and in the lock, the gateless lock, mudlark, and out to tide, turns, cackling, brent geese, moorings, fishing boats, anchored down and hunkered up, a dry dock on their timber, trusses awakening, the whirling dervish of sand, the barnacle shred, just us with the looking of a mulberry harbour, iced forever in time.
Wow. I love the visual. I love the ending particularly. Iced forever in time. That's brilliant. Wow,
So this is about Milton Lock, which is nearby to where I live.
All right.
So it's an old disused canal boat lock.
Wow.
There used to be a canal from Portsmouth to London, all the way from Portsmouth to London, and I think that was part of it at the Portsmouth end. Part of the route was out from Chichester along the coast, out on the ocean, on the sea,
Wow.
and then back in at Milton Lock, and then into the centre of Portsmouth. But it's really quite peaceful down there, quite serene. Not a lot going on down there, and there's a nice bench down there. Nice little walk along the sea, and you can sit on the bench and look out to the harbour.
And that's where you wrote the poem, I
And
guess.
that's what that was all about.
Yeah, that's very good.
It was about sitting with someone else and sharing that sort of companionship of just being with someone. Not for any great length of time or any particular closeness, just another human being and sharing a bit of companionship.
And a windy day, obviously, as well, because the whirling dervish of sand.
And it was winter, because I mentioned ice
Frozen,
again.
yeah.
And the Mulberry Harbour is another feature of Portsmouth, which is an old type of dock system, concrete dock system, which was used, I think, in the Second World War.
Wow.
And there's one that's sunk out, damaged and sunk out just off the coast down there.
Oh.
And it's like a little piece of history. They've left it in the water
Wow.
for everyone to see.
Nice. And it's immortalised now in those words. Very nice.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that, man.
Yeah, well done. Right.
Any more for any more?
No, not now. I think I've gone through my ones at the moment.
You've shot your bolt.
Yeah.
Good man.
Wow, well, that was quite interesting. I think we could leave it there, move on to our
Okay.
our next...
Let's hear from some real poets now. The amateurs have had a go.
the amateurs had a go, you know. So let's go on to our golden thread.
You were trying to hit that button too quick. Here we go. Golden thread.
Okay, now there's poems out there, not just ours. There's people who've been doing these things called poems for years, isn't there?
Yes. I
Let's-
wonder who was the earliest poet. There must have been Greek poets.
Right.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
Greek or Chinese.
Yeah.
Lao Tzu.
And Dante.
Did some
Wasn't there some poetry in Dante's Inferno?
Yeah, the ones that survived the Inferno.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, well, I've picked some poems. I thought we could do a top 10. We've all got some poems, haven't we?
We have.
So we could start off, not in any order, obviously. We could also, if we have time, we could discuss which is our favourites and try and compile a
Yes.
best to us. But it's very subjective, so it's probably not worth
That's
doing
it.
that. But these are all classics, and I've got some modern ones. I've got some old ones. Simon did the last one, so let's just start from this end and have Mr. Marshy reading it.
Okay. Right, so the first one I've picked, I actually first heard it in a movie.
Ooh.
Okay.
Not Four Weddings and a Funeral, was it?
No.
Because that one's quite famous.
It's, do you remember Memphis Belle?
Oh yeah, I saw that in the cinema, but I can't remember. It's a long time ago. I can't remember the film. I remember it's a
I've
war
never,
film
never seen it. I remember of it.
Well,
Never seen it.
it's a very good film.
about the aeroplane, wasn't it?
Yeah. Obviously about these group of American pilots.
Hmm.
And I always when I think about that film, I always picture the scene where they're all sitting around in a circle, just waiting for the next flight. And you got the guy standing around, he likes writing.
Right.
And the guys are hassling to read out a poem.
Oh, yeah.
And he pretends, to begin with, to make it out to be his own work.
Oh, right.
It isn't until the end when he obviously realises. So this is a
Cool.
poem from William Butler Yeats.
Wow.
Okay. And I hope I read it correctly. An Irish airman foresees his death. That's what it's called. I know that I shall meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above. Those that I fight, I do not hate. Those that I guard, I do not love. My country is Kiltartan Cross. My countrymen Kiltartan Pause. Not lightly end could bring them loss, or leave them happier than before. Nor law, nor duty bade me fight, nor public men, nor cheering crowds, a lonely impulse of delight, drove to the torment in the clouds. I balanced all, brought all to mind. The years to come seemed wasted breath, a waste of breath, the years behind, in balance with life, this death.
Wow. Wow. It's kind of, it reminds me of like ready for whatever happens if you die.
Yeah.
You've lived. You acknowledge this could be your moment, your final moment in the clouds.
Yeah.
But it's quite powerful.
It's just what I'll probably muck that up completely.
No, it's
and
good.
I do apologise for all the listeners out there. But it's just one that I don't know why. It's just always stuck in my head ever since I've seen that film.
It's quite poignant, I think.
Yeah.
I like the words torment in the clouds.
Yeah.
So it really sums up what they must have been going through
Oh,
before they
yeah.
got into these, what was it, B-52
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, See, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Hell on earth, really.
It's because the tail gunners invariably
Oh.
got shot, didn't they?
Yeah, and the ones on the
All
belly
bombers.
as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that was called, but
Yeah.
it's must have been hell on earth.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I have to watch that film again now.
Yeah.
It's,
Right.
Excellent.
okay. Well,
Young Phil.
there's another one poem that's quite inspired me over the years is by Robert Frost, and it's called "The Road Not Taken." Robert Frost lived from 1874 to 1963. I'm not sure exactly the year he wrote this one. It's one of those poems that's resonated with me in my life because my life's been quite many decisions and big changes. So, "The Road Not Taken." Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, for where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. Messed up a bit. But yeah,
What was it called again?
it's called The Road Less Travelled, The Road Not Taken. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Road Not
And that certainly does sound like you in the respect that the path you've took through your life, in the respect of what you've done to get where you are and where you're living now.
Well, I think most of us can look back on our lives and say, what if I did this thing? What if I did this other thing? But I can't be two people. I can't travel both paths. So you have to be happy with the one you've taken. Because you never know. I think the whole thing is just be happy that you're here and happy what you're doing. Find a way to appreciate
Never
your life.
regret.
Yeah, never regret. Exactly. That's what it's all about, I think. What do you think,
You
Simon?
do have to be very happy with your lot
Yeah.
in life, and you can't be too ambitious.
I mean,
because it just leads to unhappiness.
yeah. You're born, you keep your head down, you die.
And sometimes
Exactly.
life has something in store for you that you can't possibly dream of
Mm.
or be ambitious towards.
Yeah.
It's like in your book, Phil, the Book of Mook, where Mark talks about following the flow, going with the flow rather than
Yeah.
going against the flow.
Because if we just spend our lives fighting the current, we still end up in the same place, but knackered and depressed and
Yeah.
miserable and worn out. So why don't we just relax and let life, whatever life's got in store for us, let it take us there? Because in a way, I don't believe we're really in control of our lives. I mean, we don't know where we're going. We can't see the map. You can see landmarks sometimes that point you in the right direction, but ultimately we can't change anything anyway. So why worry? Just be happy. We're lucky. We're lucky to be here at all. You know, it's a gift. I
It
think.
is. It is indeed.
Mr. Simon, do you have one of your favourite poems for us?
Yeah, so I'm going to read one from probably my favourite. Well, no, I don't think it is my favourite poet actually. Wystan Auden. There's an interesting story about him that he was actually homosexual, but he married a woman, I think from Germany, to rescue her from the Nazi regime. So he sort of used his, even though he was homosexual, he used his marriage as a trump card to sort of help somebody else.
All right,
So he
that's decent of him.
brought her over to, I think, to America. So this one is called The More Loving One. Looking up at the stars, I know quite well that for all they care, I can go to hell. But on earth, indifference is the least we have to dread from man or beast. How should we like it were stars to burn with a passion for us we could not return? If equal affection cannot be, let the more loving one be me. Admirer as I think I am of stars that do not give a damn, I cannot now I see them say, I missed one terribly all day. Were all stars to disappear or die, I should learn to look at an empty sky and feel its total dark sublime, though this might take me a little time.
Nice, very nice words. It's good. Yeah, I like that. What the end of the first stanza when he says the loving one. But it's all
Let the
second.
more loving one be me.
Yeah, because that's the way to look at it. Because sometimes we see something who the feeling's not reciprocated.
Yeah, it really epitomises love in a relationship. For me,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I always, because I do a bit of public speaking now, and I often pull out a poem or two, and this is one that I use quite a bit.
Yeah, I've never heard that poem.
But I only read the first two verses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only read the first two because I always think it's a bit arrogant of me to say it when Eldon is like a genius poet, but I always think he should have stopped after the second one.
He'd be like,
Exactly. Cha-ching. I think he should have stopped after Let the More Loving One Be Me, because I think that was
yeah,
such a great line.
Yeah, sometimes it's like Stallone. He wrote Rocky, and he had that ending where he killed himself, blah blah blah. But then they said just end at the fight where Adrian hugs you and just cut freeze frame, and same with Cinema Paradiso. He had a longer ending. Just end at the right moments. You've got to know where to end your art. Because sometimes you don't know, because you're the people, the observers. Sometimes always listen to your critics, because sometimes they've got good comments to make.
Exactly.
Marshy, you have one more.
Yeah, I've got one more.
So this is number 4 of our top 10.
Only one.
Yeah.
So
So
I've got
this
two
is
left.
We've got to have 10. This is top 10.
Okay.
okay, but this is my last one at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's called If.
Oh,
by
if,
Kipling.
brilliant poem.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, and if you trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired of waiting or being lied about, don't deal the lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating. and yet don't look good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knives to make a trip of force, or watch the things you give your life to broken, and stood and blind them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap all of your winnings and risk it on the one of pictured toss, and lose and start again at the beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and swollen to serve your turn long after you're gone, and so hold on when you hear you is nothing in you except will, and say, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your venture, or walk with kings nor lose a common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, all the men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distant run, yours is the earth and everything's in it. And now, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Yeah, epic. I think it's one of the greatest poems ever, because it just personifies life, and as a man, what's expected of you.
Yeah, definitely.
And
And it
that's
always
what-
interests me what women think of
Yeah,
this poem.
that's
I've never actually heard any woman say what they think of it.
They basically think that
That's good
you have to be.
about men, but not about women.
No,
Or is it about humans in general?
Exactly.
could be. Yeah, we're living in an equals world now, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Keep
it's
thinking.
brilliant.
I love his books as well. I like Jungle Book. I like
Undeniably one of the best poems ever written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, I'm going to lighten the tone a little bit and
Yeah.
have a bit of John Headley. Now,
Oh.
John Headley, I didn't know anything about this guy, but when I worked at the library, he came and did an event, and he had his book, and he's obsessed with dogs and glasses, and the poems aren't the best, but his performance is so good. I'm not John, so I can't give it the same amazingness that he does, but he's just one of the best performance poets. He had been stitches, and I got him back, and I put some events on for him in Cambridge, and it was amazing, and I got to hang out with him. He's a big inspiration in my life, and this is one of my favourite of his poems. It's called Jesus is Not Just for Christmas. Down in the Bible, some of it's tribal, a tooth for a tooth, an eyeball for an eyeball. Some of it's truth, some of it's gospel, a man with a mission impossible. A man with a tan, a man who liked a parable. Cast your seed onto land that is arable. A stony field, and the yield will be terrible. Born in a manger, born into danger. Don't take gifts from any old stranger, especially if it's gold. Especially if they say you've been specially selected and they found your address by following a star. With a couple of mates who've got gifts as well. Unusual gifts. Just tell them thanks, but no tar. He had a staff to help him with his walking. He had his staff to help him do the talking. He had his path, it never had a fork in. He made a lot of sandwiches, and none of them had pork in. If you had a party, he knew how to cater. He could feed a party with the one potato. Don't go thanking me, mate. Credit the creator. The wine's all gone, son. Don't you worry, mater. Let me have that water for a moment, would you, waiter? Treated like a criminal, flattened in a hymnal. What the men'll do, maybe the women'll do. A proper dad, he never really had one. It's not on file if the child was a glad one. No trial for whatever it was the lad done. If that's a Good Friday, I wouldn't want a bad one.
I like that one.
He's brilliant, John Hegley. I love him.
Yeah.
Check him out.
I had to give it laughter because John Hegley is really a
yeah.
comic poet, isn't he?
Yeah, and he had my friend Guy up on stage talking French, and Guy's French is very spotty, and he got Guy to translate his poem into French, and it was the funniest 20 minutes of my life. I was actually in tears from what Guy went through.
Yeah.
It was so
I
good.
bet he won't.
Guy is quite a funny guy.
Yeah.
Quite a funny chap.
Yeah, he's that antagonist in my classic movie Cambridge Nights, my masterpiece.
Yes.
It's being re-edited, the final cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great days.
Great days. Number 6.
Right, I'm going in big here with war poets.
Oh God, that was quite a transition. I should
So
have done a funny one then, should I?
I'm going for, and the only thing I was going to say about this is when I lived in Cambridge, where Phil also lived, and I think Graham lived for a while.
Briefly, yeah.
I used to go for walks up to Grantchester.
Oh.
And I used to spend a lot of time at the tea rooms. What's it called? Is it called the Orchard?
The Grantchester tea rooms or something.
Grantchester Meadows, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Sung by Pink Floyd. Anyway.
they had a couple of Pink Floyd used to hang around up there.
Yeah,
as well, didn't
hence
they?
their
'Cause
song.
They were founded in
And Fat Old Son was a sequel to Grantchester Meadows.
in Cambridge.
That's another thing. Okay.
But there was a war poet or two who used to hang around up there in Grantchester at the tea rooms and wrote about it. And I can't remember which one it was.
There was one famous one. Yeah, I remember.
It may have been Rupert Brooke. But
Yes, it was.
Somebody
It
else.
was Rupert Brooke. Yeah.
So this is by Rupert Brooke,
Yeah.
and this is called The Soldier.
Wow.
If I should die, think only this of me, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. There shall be, in that rich earth, a richer dust concealed, a dust whom England bore, shaped, made aware, gave once her flowers to love, her ways to roam, a body of England's, breathing English air, washed by the rivers, blessed by the sons of home. And think this heart, all evil shed away, a pulse in the eternal mind, no less, gives somewhere back the thoughts by England given, her sights and sounds, dreams happy as her day, and laughter learnt from friends, and gentleness, in hearts at peace, under an English heaven.
Wow, nice. Yeah. For a war poem, that's quite uplifting.
Yeah.
It was.
It is, it's patriotic, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That's it.
There'll always be an England. Who did that
Yeah.
song?
I don't know,
That was Tiny Tim.
was it?
I just remembered.
But this is what our sort of patriotism is about. It's not the American sort of whoop whoop cheerleading,
Yeah.
go America.
Yeah.
Go loud and go
It's,
proud.
yeah, it's not like that. Our sort of patriotism is more sort of somber,
Mm.
a bit kind of poignant.
More refined.
Yes, I'd like to think
I
so.
would say so, yeah. So,
Yes.
that really sums up patriotism for me,
Mm.
I think.
Wow. Oh, well, I guess you've done yours.
yeah,
I'm
sadly.
going to go with some William Blake because
Yeah,
he's
go
always
for
been a
it.
favourite of mine. This
Do
is
it
quite
to
a
us.
short one-ish, and it's a very famous one called Poison Tree. I just like it, not for any particular reason, but here we go. I was angry with my friend, but I've told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe, I told it not, my wrath did grow, and I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears, and I sunned it with smiles, and with soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine, and into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning, glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree.
Very good.
Yeah, it's a simple, nice poem, nice rhyming
Yeah,
poem.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, it's quite a famous one, and yeah, it's
I can't remember the name of it, but he wrote a book which was in two halves about, was it about Howlin' in Heaven? Something along those
I
lines.
used to have
I've got a feeling that poem was in there.
yeah.
I could
I
be
had a
wrong.
big book of all his works. I can't remember the names of his individual tomes, I like that because it's just about communication.
Mm.
Because we and again, I'm against segregation. I think if we just bitch about other people and don't fess up, even if we're so-called foes, then it just poisons ourselves, really.
Oh, yeah,
There's saying the problem shared is a problem halved,
exactly.
Yeah.
which is an English saying, but then there's also a similar one in Russia, which is about if you have a problem, they say you should tell it to running water.
Mm.
I don't know why, but
Because then it will flow to
it will
the
flow away, I suppose.
maybe. But yeah, it's important to share problems rather than just barricade ourselves off and fire missiles at each other.
Yeah.
There's always a solution that doesn't include violence, hopefully, but it doesn't seem to always be the case.
No, quite.
And so hence the war poetry.
Yeah.
But I think we've got one more from Simon again.
Yeah.
I do have one more.
Number 8. That means you've got to do one more each after this one.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to, yeah.
I've got another John Hegley because I love him.
I'm going to go in big now.
Oh God, you went big last time.
I do go in big, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in big with a Silvia Plath.
Oh
poem.
wow. So I should have thought it was Sylvia.
And a
Didn't she kill herself?
fascinating woman, she did.
Yeah.
She was married to Ted Hughes,
That's
who
right.
is my favourite poet and was poet laureate.
So where's his poems?
I didn't bring one out because there are so many to choose from, and I don't really have one that stands out above the rest.
All I remember is Sylvia Plath's last book, I think, called The Bell Jar.
The Bell Jar, that's right.
That was very depressing. Oh,
I've never read it, but yeah, I've heard it's not great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I used to live in Primrose Hill, and they both lived
Yeah.
together in Primrose Hill. And there's
Oh,
a
really?
house
Did
that I
you
used
see
to walk
that?
past with a
Yeah.
plaque on the wall.
Sylvia's plaque.
Yeah, but there's a place on the little bridge at the top of Camden, which goes over to Primrose Hill, which
Did you write any
Hughes-
poetry there of yourself?
I did, yeah.
Oh, we'll have to hear some
Which
of that
Ted
another
Hughes
time.
wrote a poem about finding a fox cub, tucking it into his jacket and taking it home. And that was on that bridge where he found that fox cub.
Was it a dead one? Did he
No.
eat it?
No.
By the way, if you like poems, and that means you're still listening. So if you'd like some more poetry pods, let us know. If you're bored, just put yawn in the comments.
I don't know why he shouts into the microphone sometimes, because I have
Because
to.
I've got to wake people up.
I have to mix it down anyway.
What you got to say there, Phil?
So, but they were married, obviously, and after she committed suicide, there was a house around the corner from there, actually, where she committed suicide. And I walked past one night and I could see down into the kitchen, which is in the basement, and I could see the cooker there, and I thought, oh my god, I wonder if that was the cooker where she
same
killed herself.
stove.
Because she killed
Could
herself
be.
with the cooker.
Could be. Wow.
But yes, after she died, Ted Hughes was blamed by a lot of people for her death,
Well, if he was
because their relationship became
yeah.
a bit of a torment, and
he couldn't have helped towards it by the sound of it.
and I think they were separated or divorced when she killed herself.
Wow.
But I think what you have to do really, when you apportioning blame in that relationship, is to look at her father,
Oh yeah.
because her father was a devout Nazi.
Bloody
really?
hell.
And I think he was quite a high-ranking Nazi, as I understand it. And this poem is about her father, and it's called Daddy. And it's quite difficult to read because you have to do it angry, really. I'm not sure I'm going to do it
Try
angry.
your best.
The best one, if you can find it, is from American Poetry Slam of some kind. It's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a young girl, I think it was a young black girl, reading Daddy by Silvia Plath, and she does it just like that, really angry, and it's fantastic.
Wow.
Such a powerful poem. So here we go. So this is Daddy by Silvia Plath. You do not do any more black shoe, in which I have lived like a foot for 30 years, poor and white, barely daring to breathe or chew. Daddy, I have had to kill you. You died before I had time. Marble heavy, a bag full of God, ghastly statue with one grey toe, big as a Frisco seal, and a head in the freakish Atlantic, where it pours bean green over blue, in the waters of beautiful now set. I used to pray to recover you, ach du. In the German tongue, in the Polish town, scraped flat by the roller of wars, 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 but the name of the town is common, my Polack friend. Says there are a dozen or two, so I never could tell where you put your foot, your root. I never could talk to you. The tongue stuck in my jaw. It stuck in a barbed wire snare. Ich. I could hardly speak. I thought every German was you, and the language obscene. An engine, chuffing me off like a Jew to Dachau, Auschwitz, Belsen. I began to talk like a Jew. I think I may well be a Jew. The snows of the Tyrol, the clear beer of Vienna, are not very pure or true. With my gypsy ancestress, and my weird luck, and my tarot pack, I may be a bit of a Jew. I have always been scared of you, with your Luftwaffe, your gobbledygoo, and your neat moustache, and your Aryan eye, bright blue. Panzerman, oh you. Not God, but a swastika, so black no sky could squeak through. Every woman adores a fascist, the boot in the face, the brute heart of a brute like you. You stand at the blackboard, Daddy, in the picture I have of you. A cleft in your chin instead of your foot, but no less a devil for that, no, not any less the black man who bit my pretty red heart in two. I was 10 when they buried you. At 20 I tried to die and get back to you. I thought even the bones would do. But they pulled me out of the sack and they stuck me together with glue, and then I knew what to do. I made a model of you, a man in black with a Mein Kampf look, and a love of the rack and the screw, and I said, I do. So Daddy, I'm finally through. The black telephone's off at the root. The voices just can't worm through. If I've killed one man, I've killed two. The vampire who said he was you, and drank my blood for a year, 7 years if you want to know. Daddy, you can lie back now. There's a stake in your fat, black heart, and the villagers never liked you. They are dancing and stamping on you. They always knew it was you. Daddy, you bastard, I'm through.
Whew. Wow.
Yeah,
Now that was heavy, wasn't it?
it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. God, I wonder what he put her through.
Quite screwed up.
Yep.
Can't imagine what she went through.
Well, I think he brutalised her,
Yeah.
God.
because he just acted like a Nazi officer in the home.
Well, love.
Yeah, it's so emotional.
Love can be a painful thing. I mean, if it's love of someone or family.
Is it
or,
love?
Is it love? Well, one thing's for sure, love cuts. And that's the title of my next poem by John Hegley.
Nice.
Yes, again. Love cuts, love juts out, and you walk right into it. Love cuts, love comes and goes, love's a rose. First you smell the flower, then the thorn gets up your nostril. Love gives you chocolates, then love gives you the chop. It doesn't like to linger. Love cuts, love shuts up shop and shuts it on your finger. Love cuts, what isn't very nice is, love leaves you in slices. Love cuts, love's very sharp, a harpoon through an easy chair, a comb of honey in your hair. Just wait until the bees come home and find you just relaxing there. Love cuts, love's claws evacuate that heart of yours and leave it on the sleeve it wipes its nose on. Love cuts, love guts the fish of what you wish for and leaves it in the airing cupboard. Love cuts, love huts fall down as all the walls get falser. Love cuts, love struts around on stilts of balsa wood. Love cuts, love gives you a sweeping bow, then ploughs a furrow deep above your eyebrow. Love cuts, love curtsies, then nuts you where it really hurtsies. I know I did 2 John Hegleys, but
That's all right.
Doesn't matter.
he's good. I like reading his stuff. But you check him out on YouTube. He's just so funny. He's like he's got a bit of Rick Mail-ness to him, and a bit of a kind of a train spotter nerd. combine.
Yeah, interesting, because I'm not really a fan of John Higley, but I know you're a big fan, aren't you?
Yeah, you have to watch him. Once you see him, then you'll like him.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
That was 9. Have we got another one? Or is that
Have we got one more? Marshy,
I haven't.
we need 10 poems.
Someone look up Wendy Cope quickly, because there's a brilliant poem that she wrote about falling in love and realising when you're halfway back across the bridge.
Wendy Cope.
If you can find
Bridge.
That one. Yeah, write something about love, bridge. 'Cause that was...
After the lunch.
Yeah, that might be it. That was a fantastic poem.
Shall I read it?
Yeah, if you can find it.
Yeah, this is it.
Go for it. It's quite short, I think.
On Waterloo Bridge, where we said our goodbyes, the weather conditions bring tears to my eyes. I wipe them away with a black woolly glove and try not to notice I've fallen in love. On Waterloo Bridge, I'm trying to think. This is nothing. You're high on the charm and the drink, but the jukebox inside me is playing a song that says something different. And when was it wrong? On Waterloo Bridge, with the wind in my hair, I am tempted to skip. You're a fool. I don't care. The head does its best, but the heart is the boss. I admit it before I am halfway across. Yeah, Wendy Cope. She's another really, really brilliant poem.
Yeah.
She's excellent, yeah.
I think she...
I love the way that poem builds up. It's so sweet and tender and simple about love, but it builds up, and then there's a killer end line.
So those are 10 of our favourites. Why don't you comment about your favourite poems in the comments, if you've got comments and it's on YouTube.
Yeah, if you're on a channel that has comments.
Yeah, if not, then send us an email.
Look up our email and email us.
What is our email?
It's on all the...
It's on
It's on,
YouTube.
it's
All
on
right.
the what's it?
It's at the top, on the info.
Pompey Eclectic. Email.
Madman.com.
So let's do a quick summing up.
Yeah, you do it today, then.
Yeah.
Do I? Well, you're the special guest, Marshy.
Oh no, I wouldn't want to take the take the stress away from it.
It was brilliant. We talked about our favourite poems and shared some of our own penmanships. We've done some other stuff. I mean, Simon's written some books. I've written a book and some scripts. And Marshy's got loads of mysterious poems of his own to still yet to be shown to the world. So together we could always do some more of these if you feel like it. If not, we can do other things.
Within reason.
Within reason, yeah.
Yeah, so if our listener is interested, maybe they could just send a comment about what they'd like to hear.
Yes, please just get in touch because we love hearing from you. And
tell one of your friends as well about us.
Tell your friends about us.
Two listeners at Pompey Eclectic.
Yeah, and then we might do some even better things where we've got more of an audience and we can, grow into a monster.
Yeah, a monster. Exactly, we can even do that, can't we?
Grow into
Nice.
Yeah, so thanks again for listening or watching. We will see you on the next pod, which is going to be about Pompey...
Pork pies, I thought you were going to say.
pasties.
What is it
And,
going to be about? Comedy duos.
Comedy duos.
Comedy duos. Our favourite comedy duos
Yes,
of all
yes.
time. Mostly British ones, I think, but we might sneak in a couple of Americans.
Yeah, maybe. On that note, we will see you.
Yeah, let the exits play us out then.
Yep.
With Neon City, which was written about Portsmouth and is Phil's cousin's ex-band.
Yeah, and he sings on the song and writ it and everything.
He did.
See you later.